Hi everybody, this is Oksana and today I'm going to show you how to make a crescent moon shaped pendant. So this is a finished one here where the copper has been oxidized, and I do have a video on how to oxidize copper, and this is a freshly made one. This is one I'm going to demonstrate in the video. So I made two little loops instead of one, but it's up to you how you choose to do this. But this is the type of pendant we will be making. So if you want to see, just keep watching. So for wire, you will need two types of wire. The first is that I'm using is a 20 gauge square copper wire, and this is about 15 inches. And you can use round wire as well if you prefer, and you can also use a thicker or a thinner gauge, like you can go down to 21 gauge if your stone is small and you need a thinner wire, or if your stone is bigger than mine, you can go up to a thicker gauge. It's up to you, but I'm using 20, which is just kind of the middle ground that I probably use most often. And this is my stone. It's a labradorite crescent moon shaped stone, and this is probably roughly an inch or so. So the last thing that you'll need is you'll just need a little piece, just a couple inches here of a half round 22 gauge wire, and I like to use 22 gauge half round, but again, you can go slightly thicker or thinner if you prefer. It's totally up to you. And I will list the wires and the sizes down below under this video. So the first thing you want to do is determine the middle of your long piece of wire here. So the middle is right here. So you want to go just slightly above, just like 1 inch up from the middle. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your round nose pliers and you are going to make a bail. So I'm putting it here, and if you have bail making pliers, they're kind of like this, but they don't come to a point. It just stays round the whole time. Stays like this thickness. You can use those. Feel free to use those. I'm just using the round nose pliers because they're a little bit more common. So I think more people will be likely to have these. And if you don't have them, you can just use, I don't know, any little thing you have, little stick, anything that's round. So I am making this little round shape here. And then to have it stay, I am giving it a little twist here. And then you can use your regular pliers to just kind of give it a little squish and keep it nice and flat. So now, if you look from really far away, one end is going to be shorter than the other, because remember, we didn't do it straight in the middle, so it depends on how you hold it. So hold it in such a way that the shorter is this right here on the right, and the longer is here on the left. Okay, so this is our little bail, and I'm just going to try and squish that a little more. Okay, that looks good. Now we're going to take our stone, and this next part is probably the trickier part of making this pendant. But basically what you want to do is you're going to want to shape this wire around your stone. And this gets difficult to do when it comes to these points here. So first of all, we want to place our bail where you want your bail to go. So like roughly right here for me, that's where I want it to go. And now, while I'm holding it, I'm shaping the wire around. So what you might want to do is get like a rough idea where this point is going to be. And then you can go back in and maybe use your pliers to make it tighter. Like, see, there's gaps because this isn't as pointy. So you can go back in and make a sharper point. You can always, like when you bend with your pliers, it makes a much sharper point than just when you're using your hands. Okay. So now if I can hold it so you can see, there we go. Now that's a tighter fit. Do you see that? There's less gaps. So when the wire reaches here, the middle of our moon, this middle here, we're going to take it with our pliers and we're going to bend it like this. And then if you want, you can place the moon down and just kind of make that a slightly better bend, like that. So it's just going straight up. Okay, and now we're gonna continue shaping this wire. I'm just gonna straighten this because it was curving. Like if you look at it this way, it wasn't flat. So you want it to be flat. Okay, now we're gonna continue. And if you're having a hard time with this, you can go in with a little bit of painter's tape and just maybe like put the painter's tape around this area to hold it. And that's going to take a little bit of pressure off of having to hold everything with your hands as you bend it, because that's kind of what makes this a bit difficult. So now we're going to have to bend it around this point here. So again, you might want to just do like a roughly shaped angle and then go back in with your pliers to get that a little sharper. So I am going to do that. And basically all I do when I try to get a sharper angle is I hold here and I kind of unbend it, and then I basically bend it again, and just the pliers make it a sharper point. Okay, so putting that back on. All right. Now we want this to also bend up, and we want it to line up with the other one that is bent. It's like this, except not overlapping like mine are. So I'm just gonna sharpen that little bend there, and I'm gonna make sure that my wires are nice and flat next to each other. So this is my moon. Just double check the fit again. Make sure that it fits in nicely, that the frame is not too small or too big. Okay, so it fits in. Now we can actually, it's holding. Now we can take it out. And this is the part where we're going to use our half round wire, and we're going to wrap it around these two wires where they're meeting up. And so you just really need to do it a few times. I'm just going to do it up here, and then I'm going to move that little wrap that I do. I'm going to move it down closer because you want it to be like really close there. Okay, so I'm going to do that just a few times. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It ended up being like 5 little wraps. And then the manner in which you're going to cut this. So this is our front, because here's the bail. This is, we want the way our moon to be positioned. You could also do this if you want your moon to be positioned this way. It's up to you, but the way I'm doing it is this is my front. So I want the ends of my wire to be on this front part. See what I mean? The little ends that are visible. I'm going to press them down, and don't do it too hard because you still have to slide it down. If you press really hard, you won't be able to slide. Okay? Because we're going to kind of pick this up and fold it, and this part is going to touch the stone. That's why we want the wire ends to be here, because this way they are going to be hidden from view. Okay, so I'm just going to gently pull on these wires and get that right here, just like that. So what you want to do now is you want to take your pliers. This is kind of hard because it's hard to reach in there, so if you have those bent pliers, that could be helpful here in this scenario, but you basically just want to grab and bend, but also make sure that they don't like move out of place, these wires, that one of them doesn't like slide out. So you might want to do just like a little bit at a time, or one side at a time. Alright, so once you have it bent up at about a 90-degree angle, go ahead and put your moon back in. Make sure the points are in. And what you want to do now is you want to press on this, making sure that this does not slide out, until it just sort of goes onto the moon, like that. Okay, so here it kind of depends on what you want to do in terms of decorating. You can leave these straight, or you can make a little loop, or several loops. I'm going to make 2 loops because I have another moon that I finished earlier that I'm going to show you that has 1 loop. So that'll be my example. Here it is, of 1 loop. So I'll make this one slightly different. And same thing on the other side. And it also depends on your stone and the size of your stone. If your stone is small, you might not want to cover it up too much. Or if your stone is really big, then you have a lot of space to work with. Alright, so here we go. Just arrange them. I'm just bending this down a little bit. Looks more centered. And because this frame is really tight around the stone, it's actually kind of holding it in there. So it's helping me, because I don't have to always hold it everywhere, you know. So now, these wires are coming here on the back. So I'm going to take this top wire, and I'm going to bring it to the front. So here it is, coming across the back and to the front. And then I'm going to bend it up, because we do want to hold this frame. Like right now, if I push hard on the frame, it'll just pop out. So I do want to hold it. So now this little point here is going to be less likely to move out of place, because this wire is going to hold it. And so here it is coming to the back, and now I'm just going to wrap it around this bail. Just to finish it off and secure it. So I'm actually just going to squish it with my pliers. Like that. And then here it is. So you can just kind of cut it and tuck it away, or make a little swirl or something out of it. I think I'm just going to cut it short. And then just tuck away that wire end. So I'm taking the little wire end and I'm bending it inwards into the bail. So it forms almost like a little loop, and then I'm taking my pliers and I'm closing the loop. And here it is, you can kind of see the tip of it. Now I'm just pressing it down. So it's basically like a loop that is closed, so now you don't have to worry about that wire end sticking out. Okay, so this is done, and now we just have this bottom portion. So same thing, I'm going to have this go down. So I'm going to try and make this roughly around the same spot as up here. And then here on the back, all we have to do now, I'm just bending it in kind of a circular way and trimming it, leaving myself a little end so that I can take that little end with my pliers and tuck it under this wire. And if you're having trouble tucking it, take that wire that you're trying to tuck it under with your pliers and just gently pull it towards you, and that's going to lift it from the stone, so you'll be able to squeeze this wire underneath it like this, because it might be laying against the stone really tightly and you might not be able to push that in. So here is that, and then you might want to just press gently to push this against the stone, flat against the stone, and that is it. That is our crescent moon pendant, and here's my other one with the 2 loops for comparison. So that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.